Welcome to the Bad Belly. Today we are going to talk about hair. Little backstory. Even at my fattest, I have always been extremely vain about my hair. Super vain. Love my hair. Love it. Always have. Super thick, super long. By the time I was 11, I could sit on my hair. Love it. Love it. I'm going to try and figure out how to edit some pictures in so that you can see my hair. But it was always crazy colors. I would spend, 8 to 12 hours in a salon making my hair fire engine red. It's been teal, it's been purple, you name it, I've done it. Love my hair. Well, when I get sick, I had super thick hair down to my hips. So it was very long. When you're super sick, there are a couple things nobody gives a shit about. One of them is your hair. Nobody cares, which is totally the way it should be. Like, it's hair. Who gives a shit? I give a shit. But really, who gives a shit? Excuse me. So, my hair was in like a folded up ponytail. You do the big ponytail and then you just loop it under. One of those. My hair sat in one of those for about 5 months. And it would go weeks without anybody brushing it. There were, so mid-August, we tried to wash my hair. One of my girlfriends came and tried to do it for me, which was a really good day. So, hey, stretch. My hair got really knotty. And increasingly, as they tried to brush my hair, so much time would go in between brushing it and the mats would get so big that scissors were involved. Now, I didn't have the strength or ability to brush my own hair. I couldn't hold the brush. I couldn't even text, so brushing hip length hair was way off the table. And it just wasn't it wasn't a priority, and it shouldn't have been a priority at all. So between the mats, it was pretty nasty. And then, I guess around September, mid-September, my hair started falling out. I don't know if that's because I had been on the tube feeding, the TPN for so long. I don't know if it was the medication. I don't know if it was just the general state of, not having eaten anything for months, or like physical food. Being on complete bowel rest, the drug, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but my hair fell out. And it really fell out. Now, I have a lot of hair to begin with. So when you see the pictures, you're gonna think, that's not so bad. What you're seeing in the picture, I'm gonna try and insert one right here. That's about 10% of my hair. And that is my hair after it had just been professionally done. Yeah. And you can probably tell by the look on my face just how happy I was with that hair. I was pretty devastated. Again, the vanity played a large role. I was super vain about my hair. And it didn't matter. No matter how fat I got or how bad I felt about myself, I had my hair. And I guess that was kind of the point, right? I might not be able to fit into stylish clothes. I might not be able to buy boots that I liked. But I could always have a really cool purse, and I could always have some crazy hair. The crazy hair also drew attention away from my body. So people would look at this flaming red or bright blue hair and not, in my mind, be looking at the state of the rest of me. So my hair was super bad. I wasn't happy about it. I mean, you can't have hair down to your hips that's like with bald patches, and it, ugh. I was also worried about how my boys were going to take it. I really felt like I looked like a monster. And for months after I came home, every time I looked in the mirror, that was the word that would go through my mind, was monster. I didn't recognize myself. And I was so sick too, right? With like my eyes were all sunk into my head, and I just looked like a bag of shit generally. And no matter what my hair had looked like, I was gonna look like shit. But it was my hair. So Sean had brought someone in. He'd gone around town to try and find somebody to help us, and he found a woman who was willing to come to the hospital, and she was wonderful to do so. Unfortunately, I think she was a little bit out of her element. She wasn't used to dealing with someone who had health-related hair loss. I don't know a lot about health-related hair loss from a medical perspective, like the hows or the whys. And I don't know what it's like for other people, probably specifically women, but I expect it's difficult for men too. When you go through this, I just know what it was like for me, and especially after I came home, having that constant reminder every time I looked at myself of just how sick I had been could be pretty devastating. Even with this hair, which I'll get to, but I just wanted to say that even with this hair, for the longest time after I had this haircut, it's not that it felt like a punishment because I love it. It's just a further reminder, right? I got this haircut because my hair fell out, and it took me almost a year of people complimenting me on oh my God, I love your hair. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't, or, oh, it's so brave, you chose that haircut. And it's like, oh, I didn't choose this haircut. This was not, this isn't about me. I didn't want this hair. My hair all fell out. Like, this is the compromise. This is just the best we could do with what we had. So as you saw from the picture, in case you've forgotten, there I am. I was clearly unhappy in an already super miserable situation, and I was very severely depressed as well. I can't imagine why. So the first hairdresser was out of her element, so Sean went and tried to find somebody else, and eventually he did, and that is where he found Stella. And I'm hoping to introduce you to Stella, because I would really like to do like a joint video with her so you can get her perspective on this, because I do think it's important. A lot of people go through this. If you have lost your hair for medical reasons, you will know exactly what I am talking about, and I'm really sorry that you're going through that, because I know how hard it is. So Sean went and found Stella. There's Stella. So he brought her in. She knew it was a pretty bad situation, but she did her absolute best. And I don't tell stories that aren't my own, but Stella was able to relate to me in a lot of ways that I think helped us to hit it off. And so she did an incredible job. Here you go. Hard to believe that's only 10% of my hair. She knew what she was doing. So from that moment on, I felt very bound to her, especially since she refused to take any payment. She came all the way up to the hospital, brought all of her stuff, and then wouldn't let us pay her at all, because she's just an absolute sweetheart. Once I got home, I let it fill in a bit. And then I went to see Stella and we took another run at it. And I took the opportunity, because I decided to view it as an opportunity, to do something that I'd never had the courage to do, which was this. I always loved Miley's hair, loved Pink's hair, but when you've got hair down to your hips, the prospect of shaving both sides of your head and going with a super short cut, it's a little daunting. You don't know if you can pull it off. I know how long it takes to grow my hair back out. Not a big fan. And I'm one of those people who I either want my hair, because I used to wear it in a Louise Brooks, so I either want it like super short or I want it down to my waist. And I get a little bit pissy on the in-betweens. So I went to see Stella. She gave me my new cut, which I don't want to say it changed everything, because obviously that is a massive exaggeration. But it did change my outlook, and it did make things better. Because when I looked in the mirror now, even though my hair was a constant reminder of what I had been through, I didn't think I looked like a monster anymore. Our hair is so important. Maybe not for everybody, but most people I know feel good about themselves if their hair looks good. And I'm very fortunate to have a stylist who understands that. Like, even when I went in to get this done, and we went with the pink, I didn't have to explain to Stella that I did not want like a monochromatic look. I didn't want it to be 100% the same color, especially with something like pink, because then people assume it's a wig, and I'm already sensitive to being treated like a sick person because of my hair. So maybe you're watching this and you're thinking, what's the big deal? If you know me, you won't, because you know how big a deal my hair is for me. This one was important for me to share because it's one of those things where I feel like, and completely justifiably, the reaction I get is, well, you survived. What the fuck difference does it make what your hair looks like? If you were bald as a cue ball, like, you were still alive, who cares? So valid. So valid. Totally right. And on that level, I didn't. I was just extremely happy and grateful, and you know, I know that's all that matters. Like, but it's not an either or. Life isn't a series of either ors, and it's not black or white. And it's something I've had to struggle with, because you can be grateful and something else at the same time. Emotions aren't exclusive, you know? Like, I'm train tracks. So grateful and happy to be alive. Still not happy that all my hair fell out. Not mutually exclusive concepts. It's one of those things like everything else where it's all relative. And I know I keep coming back to that. But if a hangnail is the worst thing you've ever endured, that hangnail is really gonna suck. It's really gonna suck. Somebody else might not even feel the hangnail. I think hair can be like that too. I think everything can be like that. Your personal worst is your personal worst. Endoscopes, not a huge deal. Mine were pretty traumatic, so they're a big deal for me, even though they might not be for you or for somebody else. Conversely, I was talking to somebody on the weekend about colonoscopies and how, you know, once you've done them, and for me, that's not the part that I'm worried about, but I've spoken with people who are very concerned about that part, because that's the worst thing medically they've ever been through. And if that's your personal worst, it's pretty shitty. And I don't think you can take that from people. I don't think that's fair. I think we inherently judge one another because that's just a basic evolutionary function. You know, is this a good person? Is this a bad person? We have to make snap decisions about things all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think we spend far too much. That is a heron in the middle of the road. We spend far too much time beating ourselves up for judging each other when we really can't help it. That's just what we're supposed to do as human beings. I think our brains are just designed to make judgments. It's what we do with those judgments that can be good or bad or otherwise. I think it's really not helpful, and it can actually be kind of harmful to people when we apply our own standards to their situations. It's not fair to take that away from somebody. You wouldn't look at somebody who lost a limb to cancer or something and say, well, come on, it's just an arm. It's just, let me look on the bright side. You're still alive. You've got a beautiful head of hair. All right, you don't have your arm anymore, but it could be worse. I have an uncle, and both of his legs were chopped off at the same time. That's way worse than losing an arm. That's not really fair to say to the person who lost an arm. It might be true, and maybe they are whining and wallowing in their lack of armness, but I don't really see how that's going to help anybody. I also think because it's so personal, you never know how somebody's got something weighted. For myself, losing my hair was a very big deal, whereas for somebody else it might not be. There were other things that happened to me that I was able to shrug off in different ways. And someone who doesn't know me might not understand that being upset about having lost my hair was giving me an avenue to be upset about other things as well. It wasn't that it was something I could change, because it wasn't. When hair falls out, it's gone. But there were so many other things outside of my control that were a lot less trivial than having lost my hair, that I think allowing myself to be upset about my hair in some ways was also giving my permission to be upset about the other things I couldn't control that I didn't feel I could talk about. I couldn't control being separated from the beasties. I couldn't control most of what happened to me. I don't know if it's like that for other people who've battled illnesses, but when you have no control over anything, it's sometimes letting yourself get upset about that lack of control isn't helpful. So I could have laid there and raged and screamed, and I did, about being separated from my boys. But it wasn't making me feel any better. And it was such a big thing to confront psychologically. That I wasn't even able to begin to process it. But my hair, while psychologically significant to me, was really quite trivial in the grand scheme of things, and was something that I just had to let go. Stella certainly helped by giving me a beautiful haircut that I have not done a good job of styling today. But I'm still working through the other stuff. So my hair situation has healed. But I'm still working on the rest of me. And that's going to take time. And some things will never grow back. You know, and that's the other reason to get all worked up about my hair, because at some point now, earlier than now, I hit the point where I was very comfortable with my hair. I loved my hair. And I can hang on to that, because I'm never going to be comfortable with the 5 months I lost with my children. I'm never going to be comfortable with missing the first 5 months of my youngest life, or not being there to help Sean through the NICU or any of those other things. And I think intuitively, or perhaps not, Stella just understood all of those things and was able to help me heal other aspects of my trauma by helping deal with the physical and deal with the constant visual reminder of what I've been through. It's been very helpful towards letting go of the experience. So yeah, I guess that's my hair talk. We may revisit it. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We will talk again soon. Ciao, ciao.